There are moments when heaven seems silent and life feels stuck. But what if that silence isn't the end? It's the setup. What if the waiting you're enduring is the womb of the very glorious miracle of divine intervention God is preparing to release? This message is not coincidence. It's divine timing. For those who've cried unseen tears, whispered prayers in the dark, and wondered if God still hears, get ready. The Creator of the universe is not distant. He's moving in ways you can't yet perceive about, to surprise you with a glorious miracle of divine intervention beyond imagination. There are moments in life when the clouds grow heavy, the winds rise in fury, and the storm shows no sign of passing. Perhaps you're standing in that place right now, wounded by life, exhausted by trials, burdened by delay. But let me tell you something with every ounce of conviction in my soul. God is not finished with you yet. In fact, God is about to unexpectedly, supernaturally surprise you very soon with a glorious miracle of divine intervention, so big, so undeniable, that every doubt, every fear, and every voice that said you wouldn't make it will be silenced in awe of His glory. This is not wishful thinking. This is not empty encouragement. This is a divine announcement. Heaven is moving, and your name is on the glorious miracle of divine intervention that's coming. You see, God doesn't operate on man's timeline. He doesn't work according to what people think is possible. He steps into impossibility and makes it His stage. He chooses the broken to display His power. He chooses the overlooked to showcase His favor. And right now, behind the scenes of your struggle, the hand of God is writing a new chapter for you. A chapter of breakthrough, of healing, of divine elevation. What you couldn't fix in years, God can turn around in a moment. I know some of you have been praying, crying, fasting, waiting. You've whispered prayers in the midnight hour, not knowing if they even reached heaven's gates. But I want you to hear me clearly. Not a single tear you've shed has been wasted. Not one moment of pain, not one sleepless night. Not one why God has gone unnoticed. The silence was not a rejection. It was preparation. The delay was not denial. It was divine alignment. It was divine alignment. And just when you thought God had forgotten your name, He is about to send a glorious miracle of divine intervention that will break every chain and set your feet dancing. Throughout Scripture, the greatest glorious miracle of divine interventions happened in the most unlikely places. A barren woman named Sarah gave birth at 90 years old because God said it would happen. A shepherd boy named David took down a giant because God had already anointed him for victory. A dead man named Lazarus walked out of the grave because Jesus said, "Come forth." And if He did it for them, He can do it for you. Your Red Sea will part. Your Jericho walls will fall. Your midnight prison will shake. Let me tell you, this is not the time to quit. This is not the hour to faint. This is not the season to let go of unshakable faith that stands in the storm. Because when you are at the end of yourself, you are at the beginning of God's glorious miracle of divine intervention. The enemy has been whispering lies into your ear, telling you it's over, that it's too late, that you missed your moment. But let me declare the truth over your life. God is about to unexpectedly, supernaturally surprise you with a glorious miracle of divine intervention so mighty it will rewrite the narrative of your life. You may not see it yet, but the angels have already been dispatched. The answer is already in motion. The breakthrough is already prepared. God has not forgotten the promise He made to you. He has not gone silent because He doesn't care. No, He's silent because He's working. He's orchestrating details you cannot comprehend. He's speaking to hearts you haven't met. He's opening doors in rooms you've never entered. You don't need to figure it out. You just need to trust the one who already has. You might be standing in the furnace, but God is standing there with you. The fire that was meant to burn you is the very thing God will use to promote you. He didn't promise you wouldn't go through the storm. He promised you wouldn't drown in it. He didn't promise you wouldn't face trials. He promised He'd never leave you in them. And He hasn't left you. He hasn't abandoned you. He hasn't turned His back on you. In fact, He's drawing closer right now. Closer than your breath. Closer than your pain. Closer than your fears. I want you to get this deep in your soul. The same God who turned water into wine, who fed 5,000 with a boy's lunch, who healed the blind and raised the dead, is the God who lives in you and fights for you. This is not a story of defeat. It's a setup for glory. It's a setup for the kind of glorious miracle of divine intervention that will make your enemies say, "Surely the Lord is with them." You've been overlooked, but God is about to make you overflow. You've been rejected, but God is about to raise you up. You've been ridiculed, but God is about to restore you in front of those who said you wouldn't make it. Don't you let discouragement take root in your spirit. Don't you let doubt steal your praise. Your glorious miracle of divine intervention is not just coming. It's closer than you think. You may be one prayer away, one praise away, one act of obedience away from the moment everything changes. Faith doesn't always make sense. Sometimes it feels like you're stepping off a cliff and trusting God to catch you. But that's where glorious miracle of divine interventions are born. In the space between logic and obedience, between impossibility and trust, God never asked you to understand. He asked you to believe. He never asked you to plan the outcome. He asked you to walk in unshakable faith that stands in the storm. So walk even if you have to limp. Walk. Even if you're bleeding, walk. Even if everyone else is doubting, walk. Because on the other side of your obedience is a glorious miracle of divine intervention that will shake the very foundations of your life. Let the world mock your unshakable faith that stands in the storm. Let them laugh at your prayers. But when the glorious miracle of divine intervention comes, and it will, they will have no words. Because when God moves, even the scoffers must bow. Even the haters must be silent. God is not going to bless you in secret. He's about to make your testimony public. He's about to lift you in front of those who pushed you down. And He's going to do it in such a way that you'll have no choice but to fall on your knees and say, "Only God could have done this." This isn't hype. This is an exaggeration. This is divine truth. God specializes in surprises, the kind that interrupts despair with hope, the kind that breaks generational curses in a single moment of favor, the kind that heals what doctors said was incurable, the kind that places you in rooms you never thought you'd enter. And He doesn't do it because you earned it. He does it because He is good. Not because you are worthy, but because He is merciful. I don't care what the statistics say. I don't care what the report says. I don't care what they said about your background, your age, your education, your past. When God decides to move, nothing can stop Him. Not the government, not the economy, not the devil himself. When heaven decrees it, hell has no power to delay it. And God has decreed favor over your life. He has spoken destiny over your days. And He is watching over His word to perform it. You don't need to strive for a glorious miracle of divine intervention. You need to surrender for one. Lay it down. Lay down the fear, the control, the timeline, the comparison. Lay it at the feet of Jesus and say, Lord, I trust you. Because when you put it in His hands, He multiplies it. He breathes on it. He transforms what you thought was over into a beginning you never imagined. There is a woman reading this right now. You've cried yourself to sleep for weeks. You feel invisible, discarded, forgotten. But God sees you. He sees every ache in your heart. And He's about to place something in your life that you didn't even have the courage to ask for. There is a man watching this right now. You've been grinding, striving, doing all you can to make it work. But God is about to breathe on your effort and bring supernatural increase. You think the glorious miracle of divine intervention is coming someday, but I say to you very soon, not years from now, not when you have it all together, very soon. God is not limited by time. He's not restricted by process. He moves suddenly, swiftly, sovereignly. And when He does, what once was a struggle becomes a testimony. What once was confusion becomes clarity. What once was lack becomes abundance. But let me warn you, when the glorious miracle of divine intervention comes, stay humble. Stay grateful. Don't forget the nights you cried. Don't forget the prayers you prayed. Don't forget who got you out. It wasn't your network. It wasn't your talent. It wasn't your plan. It was God. And it will always be good. He's the one who lifts up and brings down. He's the one who opens and shuts. He's the one who says yes when the world says no. You're not waiting on man. You're waiting on God. And His timing is never off. His promises never fail. When He says it, it stands. When He speaks it, it manifests. He is not a man that He should lie. If He said He would do it, you can take it to the bank. In fact, you can build your life on it. So rise up in unshakable faith that stands in the storm. Shake off the despair. Wipe your tears. Square your shoulders. Stand on the word. The enemy tried to take you out, but you're still here. He tried to bury you, but God resurrected you. He tried to shame you, but God is about to honor you. He tried to break your spirit, but you're about to break through. Your glorious miracle of divine intervention is not only coming, it's necessary. It's strategic. It's prophetic. Your life is not random. You are not a mistake. You are chosen, called, marked, anointed. The battle has been fierce because the blessing is massive. The warfare has been intense because the glorious miracle of divine intervention is imminent. Satan doesn't fight what he isn't threatened by. He's terrified of what you're about to walk into. That's why he's tried to delay it, distract you, discourage you. But it's too late. Heaven has spoken. The blessing is on the way. And when it comes, you'll know. Not because of how big it is, but because of how much peace it brings. Not because of how loud it is, but because of how deeply it satisfies your soul. You'll stand in that moment and say, God, you did more than I asked. You exceeded what I imagined. You loved me even when I doubted. You surprised me when I least expected it. So get ready. Get your heart ready. Get your mind ready. Get your house ready, because the glorious miracle of divine intervention is coming. The call is coming. The healing is coming. The restoration is coming. And it's not going to be small. It's going to be big. It's going to be visible. It's going to be undeniable. It's going to be miraculous. You were born for such a time as this. You were created for His glory. You were formed for His purposes. And He's about to remind the world of what happens when heaven touches earth. When unshakable faith that stands in the storm collides with favor, when prayer meets promise, when obedience unlocks overflow. God is about to unexpectedly, supernaturally surprise you, and it will be beautiful. You see, when God prepares a glorious miracle of divine intervention, He often allows the situation to look hopeless first, not to punish you, but to position you for a manifestation that will glorify His name. There is a divine reason the battle has intensified. The pressure you're feeling isn't meant to crush you. It's preparing you to carry something greater. Don't misinterpret your pain. Don't mislabel your delay. You are standing on holy ground even if it looks like barren land. Sometimes God lets the brook dry up like He did for Elijah, not to abandon you, but to reroute you to the next glorious miracle of divine intervention. Hear me today. What feels like the end is just the beginning of God's best. You are not being buried. You are being planted. And the season you're in now may be quiet, unseen, overlooked. But when the time comes, you're going to burst forth with life purpose and divine power. A seed doesn't sprout immediately after being sown. It lies hidden deep in the soil. But something is happening underneath. Roots are forming. Strength is growing. Foundations are being built. And when it breaks through the surface, it doesn't just appear out of nowhere. It reveals what God was doing all along. Some of you have been hidden. You've been overlooked. You've been misunderstood. But that doesn't mean you've been forgotten. The same Jesus who turned to the woman with the issue of blood and said, "Daughter, your unshakable faith that stands in the storm has made you whole," is turning to you now. He sees your persistence. He sees your tears in secret. And He's about to honor you in public. God is not just preparing a glorious miracle of divine intervention. He is preparing you for it. The reason you've had to walk alone at times is because God needed to separate you before He could elevate you. Not everyone can walk with you where you're going. Not everyone will understand the blessing that's coming. So God, in His mercy, allowed certain people to leave. He allowed the doors to close. He allowed the rejections to take place. Not because He was taking something from you, but because He was clearing the path ahead. Child of God, Your name is being whispered in places your feet have not yet touched. God is speaking your destiny in rooms you haven't even entered. Don't be discouraged by what you don't see yet. Trust what heaven is arranging for you behind the curtain. Just because the stage is still empty doesn't mean the performance won't begin. The lights are being tested. The curtain is being prepared. The audience is taking their seats. And when the time is right, God will unveil His glory in your life with such power that it will make the wait worth it. And you won't have to force it. You won't have to manipulate it. You won't have to push open the door. God says, "I open doors that no man can shut." You don't need to strive, just abide. Just remain in Him. Just continue to walk in integrity. Keep doing what is right, even when it's hard. Keep loving when it hurts. Keep serving when no one claps. Keep praying when it feels dry, because all of it is seed. All of it is seen, and all of it is leading to a divine harvest. Beloved, you're not chasing glorious miracle of divine interventions. You're walking with the glorious miracle of divine intervention worker. You're not pleading with the wind. You're speaking to the one who commands it. You're not hoping for coincidence. You're aligned with providence. And that changes everything. Your glorious miracle of divine intervention will not be manufactured by human effort. It will be birthed by divine power. When it comes, it will come from a place you least expect, through a vessel you didn't anticipate, at a time you weren't prepared for, but it will be perfect, because it will come from the hand of God. Let me speak directly into your soul. You're not too far gone. You haven't messed up too much. You haven't waited too long. What God has for you is not lost. It's reserved. It has your name on it. The blessing is still active. The calling is still alive. The promise is still valid, but it requires your surrender. Not partial surrender completely, not surface-level obedience. Deep, radical, burning, unshakable faith that stands in the storm, obedience that says, "God, even if I don't understand, I'll trust you anyway." Because the glorious miracle of divine intervention isn't just about what you receive, it's about who you become. God is not merely trying to change your circumstances. He's trying to change your character. He's trying to refine your heart, increase your unshakable faith that stands in the storm and strip you of anything that would steal His glory. So don't despise the fire. Don't resist the process. There's gold in you, and fire brings it out. And there are things God is about to place in your hands that you prayed for years ago and forgot. You thought the time had passed. But God never forgets a prayer lifted in unshakable faith that stands in the storm. Heaven keeps record. Every cry, every whisper, every broken hallelujah, it has been heard. And there is a moment already appointed when the cry will meet the answer and the pain will collide with purpose. There is something supernatural happening in the waiting. The enemy would love for you to believe that nothing is changing. But the very fact that you're still here, still breathing, still believing, is proof that God's hand is upon you. You should have lost your mind. You should have given up. You should have quit, but you didn't. You held on. You stood still. You fought through the night. And because of that, you're about to see the salvation of the Lord with your own eyes. God is not a halfway God. He's not going to bring you to the edge and let you fall. He's not going to tease you with the promise and then leave you in the wilderness. If He brought you out of Egypt, He'll bring you into Canaan. If He parted the sea, He'll part the river. If He started the glorious miracle of divine intervention, He will finish it, because He who began a good work in you will be unshakable faith that stands in the stormful to complete it until the day of Jesus Christ. There is a reason why all hell has come against you. There is a reason why the opposition has intensified. It's because the enemy knows something is about to break. He's terrified of what you're about to step into.
And if you could only see what's ahead, you would praise God right now like the glorious miracle of divine intervention has already arrived. You wouldn't wait until the door opens. You'd shout in front of the door. You wouldn't wait until the battle ends. You'd worship in the war because you know the promise is already yours. The power of unshakable faith that stands in the storm is that it allows you to rejoice before you receive, to praise before you possess, to declare victory before the evidence shows up. That kind of unshakable faith that stands in the storm moves mountains. That kind of unshakable faith that stands in the storm stops heaven. That kind of unshakable faith that stands in the storm opens the floodgates of glorious miracle of divine interventions. Jesus said, "If you believe, you will see the glory of God," not the other way around. First believe, then see. So I challenge you, speak it, declare it, prophesy to your dry bones. Say to your future, "You will rise." Say to your sickness, "You are healed." Say to your debt, "You are canceled." Say to your dreams, "You are alive again." Because life and death are in the power of the tongue. Your glorious miracle of divine intervention is voice activated. Open your mouth and agree with heaven. The enemy cannot steal what you boldly proclaim in unshakable faith that stands in the storm. Stop rehearsing your fears. Stop meditating on your losses. Start speaking life. Start thanking God in advance. Start praising like the walls have already fallen. Because praise confuses the enemy. It shifts the atmosphere. It moves heaven. It causes glorious miracle of divine interventions to manifest in impossible places. And if you will lift your voice in unshakable faith that stands in the storm, God will lift your life in power. You are standing on the edge of something sacred. The wind is shifting. The tide is turning. The angels are leaning over the balcony of heaven, waiting for the signal. And when the Father speaks the word, it will be released suddenly, swiftly, supernaturally. And when it happens, don't forget this moment. Don't forget the waiting. Don't forget the process, because your story will be the fuel for someone else's unshakable faith that stands in the storm. You won't just receive a glorious miracle of divine intervention. You will become a testimony. You will walk into rooms and carry the fragrance of heaven. You will lay hands on the sick, and they will recover. You will speak life into dead situations. You will lift others with the same encouragement that once lifted you. Because glorious miracle of divine interventions don't just bless you, they change you. They ignite something eternal inside of you. And once you've encountered the power of God, you can never stay the same. So be ready, be watchful, be expectant.
The clouds are gathering. The rain is forming. The heavens are rumbling. And soon, very soon, God will surprise you with a glorious miracle of divine intervention. So mighty, your only response will be tears of wonder, hands lifted high, and heart bowed low, saying, "My God did this. My God came through. My God never failed me." There is something you must grasp in your spirit right now. God doesn't send glorious miracle of divine interventions just to change your life. He sends glorious miracle of divine interventions to reveal Himself. Every act of divine intervention, every breakthrough, every healing, every supernatural provision is a revelation of His heart toward you. He's not a distant deity watching from the clouds. He is a present Father moved by the cries of His children, compelled by love to act on your behalf. When you cry out in the night, heaven hears. When you whisper in weakness, heaven leans in. And when you trust, even with trembling hand, heaven responds with power. You serve a God who walks on water, who speaks to storms, who commands fish to carry coins and ravens to deliver food. There is no limitation in Him. There is no impossibility with Him. And when you belong to Him, that same authority is at work in your life. You are not at the mercy of your circumstances. You are under the authority of the Most High. And when He speaks, everything must bow. Fear, lack, disease, confusion, chaos. They all crumble beneath the weight of His word. Let me tell you plainly, God does not tease His people. He does not awaken desire only to abandon it. He does not stir up hope only to let it die. If He put a dream in your heart, it is because He intends to fulfill it. If He called you, He intends to equip you. If He gave you a word, He intends to perform it. God is not a man that He should lie. His word is not up for negotiation. His promises do not expire with time. They are eternal living, breathing declarations from heaven's throne. So lift your eyes. Lift them higher than the pain, higher than the bank account, higher than the diagnosis, higher than the noise. Lift your eyes to the hills from where your help comes. Because your help is not coming from man. It is not coming from luck. It is not coming from the system. Your help comes from the Lord, the Maker of heaven and earth. And He is not anxious. He is not late. He is not overwhelmed. He is seated on the throne, calm and in control with your glorious miracle of divine intervention held safely in His hands, waiting for the appointed moment to release it. There are doors that have been shut to you for years, but God is about to open them with a key no man can forge. There are places you've dreamed of but could never reach on your own. But God is about to pick you up and carry you in by His Spirit. He is going to take you where your resume can't go, where your connections can't take you, where your efforts fall short because favor will do what force cannot. And when that glorious miracle of divine intervention breaks forth, don't you dare shrink back in false humility. Don't apologize for the blessing. Don't downplay His glory. Stand tall. Testify. Let your life become an altar of praise. Shout from the rooftops, "Look what the Lord has done." Because your breakthrough will become someone else's blueprint. Your deliverance will be the seed of someone else's deliverance. What God does in you is meant to flow through you. But here's a truth that many overlook. Sometimes the glorious miracle of divine intervention is not the thing you wanted, but the strength God gave you while you waited. Sometimes the healing begins inside before it shows up outside. Sometimes He changes your heart before He changes your situation. You thought the glorious miracle of divine intervention would be a changed job, but He gave you a changed mind. You thought it would be financial overflow, but He gave you peace in the valley. That is just as miraculous. That is just as holy. There is glory in the waiting, my friend. Glory in the silence. Glory in the days when you don't feel strong, but you still show up. God is watching, and He is pleased. Faith that endures when nothing changes is the kind of unshakable faith that stands in the storm that moves heaven. And when you keep walking, even with tears in your eyes, you are prophesying with your feet. You are declaring, "My God is still worthy. My God is still unshakable faith that stands in the stormful." Don't listen to the doubters. Don't get caught up in the voices that mock your obedience. They don't know the oil that's on your life. They didn't see what it cost you to stand. They didn't see the nights you bled in prayer, the mornings you got up with nothing but grit and grace. But God saw it, and God rewards unshakable faith that stands in the stormfulness. He is a rewarder of those who diligently seek Him. The winds may be howling, the sea may be raging, but remember what Jesus said to Peter. Come, just one word. And Peter walked on water. That's the power of a word from God. It will hold you up in storms. It will defy the laws of nature. It will carry you in places where logic says you should sink. And if God said, "Come," then don't look at the waves. Don't study the statistics. Don't analyze the risks. Step out. Walk. Believe. Trust. The water will hold you when the word is in your spirit. I declare over you right now, what was once closed is opening. What was once dead is stirring with life. What once held you captive is being broken. Chains are falling. Delays are ending. The heaviness is lifting. The waiting season is shifting. God is moving, and it's happening suddenly. But when the glorious miracle of divine intervention comes, make no mistake, it will come with responsibility. God blesses you to become a blessing. He lifts you to lift others. He delivers you so that you can deliver His message. So prepare your heart now. Get your hands clean. Get your heart pure. Repent if you need to. Lay down every idol, every distraction, every fear. Make room. Make room for the glorious miracle of divine intervention. And let me say this with boldness. If you've walked through hell, get ready to carry heaven. If you've endured suffering, get ready to release healing. If you've been empty, get ready to overflow. God never wastes a wound. He never allows pain without purpose. And the level of your warfare is a prophecy of the level of your calling. You're about to walk into rooms you didn't build, eat from vineyards you didn't plant, receive blessings you didn't chase because you chased Him. And when you chase Him, the blessings chased you. Seek first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. So keep your eyes open, keep your spirit ready, stay aligned, Stay surrendered. Stay available. Because when God moves, it's not always convenient. It may require you to leave what is familiar. It may stretch you beyond your comfort. But oh, what glory is waiting on the other side. The same God who called Abraham out of his father's house is calling you out of limitation and into legacy. There is a fresh wind of the Spirit blowing. Can you feel it? A stirring in your soul, a divine anticipation. That's not emotion. That's revelation. God is preparing something that will not only bless you, it will mark you. It will alter the course of your life. You will not leave this season the same way you entered it. You will not exit this fire without a testimony of power and a mantle of authority. So rise, beloved, rise in unshakable faith that stands in the storm. Rise in boldness. Rise in expectation. The time is now. The hour has come. God is about to unexpectedly, supernaturally surprise you very soon with a glorious miracle of divine intervention, not because of who you are, but because of who He is. Not because you deserve it, but because He delights in showing mercy. Not because you've earned it, but because you've endured. Get ready. The windows of heaven are opening. The rain is about to fall. And when it does, every seed you've sown in tears will bloom in beauty. Every moment you held on in unshakable faith that stands in the storm will be crowned in joy. Every scar will become a story. Every loss will become a launch, and your life will declare what only heaven could write. This was the hand of God. This was the glorious miracle of divine intervention I didn't see coming. This was the surprise of grace, and it changed everything. So now I ask you, are you ready? Are you ready to trust again? Are you ready to believe when it seems easier to doubt? Are you ready to open your heart and say, God, whatever you want to do in me, do it now, because this is your moment. Not tomorrow, not someday, right here, right now. Heaven is leaning in, and the Spirit of the living God is moving across the waters of your soul, calling you out of fear, calling you out of complacency, calling you out of the wilderness and into divine purpose. You were not created to simply survive. You were created to shine, to carry the glory of God in this generation, to be a walking testimony of what grace can do when it finds a surrendered heart. This is not the hour to sit in silence or bow to despair. This is the hour to rise up with holy fire in your bones, to throw off the garments of shame and defeat, and to walk boldly into the place God has prepared for you. Examine your life. What are you holding on to that God is asking you to release? What habits, what thoughts, what voices need to be silenced so you can hear the still small whisper of His Spirit again? What dream did you bury because the delay was too long? Dig it up, dust it off, speak life into it once more. Breathe again, believe again, trust again. Because God is not through with you. Not now, not ever. Let this be the cry of your heart. Lord, I'm ready. Whatever it takes, wherever you lead, however you choose, I want your will, not mine. I want your presence more than a platform. I want your power more than popularity. I want the glorious miracle of divine intervention that transforms me from the inside out. That makes me holy, not just happy. That is where revival begins, not in the crowd, but in the consecrated, not in noise, but in surrender. And when your life becomes the altar, His fire will fall. So walk with courage, live with expectancy, love without fear, and never forget. Even when you don't see it, even when you don't feel it, even when everything around you says otherwise, God is unshakable faith that stands in the stormful. God is near, and God is about to unexpectedly, supernaturally surprise you with a glorious miracle of divine intervention that will leave you forever changed. Let your life be the answer to the question, what happens when someone truly trusts God? And may your story echo through eternity as a living testament to the unfailing goodness of our God. Now go live boldly, believe deeply, and walk humbly in the light of His promise. The glorious miracle of divine intervention is coming. Let your heart be ready.